Welcome. Tim Darnell here. Great to have you with me today. And we're going to be talking about the fifth quadrant. The fifth quadrant. Now think about that. Quadrant means four, right? This is the fifth quadrant. I'm going to share with you some things today that have absolutely boggled my mind as far as business is concerned and where we're going with business and what's happening in the world of financial matters and in the world of network marketing, which is what I've been a part of for the last 38 years. 38 years. Can't believe it, but it's been a blast. It's been fantastic. Been great for our family. And I want to just share some financial concepts with you and see if we agree with some of these things. And if you don't, then email me or write me or text me or something, and let's talk about it. I'm sure I can learn from you, and you might even be able to learn something from me. Who knows? But fifth quadrant. So I want to start off with a quote by Warren Buffett, and a lot of financial professionals, he is their hero, including me. I mean, the guy's just unbelievable what he's done. I caught a great quote of his on Facebook in a meme 2 or 3 days ago, and I just love this. And he says, "Surround yourself with people that push you to do better. No drama or negativity, just higher goals and higher motivation. Good times and positive energy. No jealousy or hate, simply bringing out the absolute best in each other." And let's see, yeah, that's it. So anyway, I just love that. And I think that's a real important way to start this thing off and just talk about no drama, no negativity. Let's just talk about things that can improve each of our lives. And I'm sure it can. So, for me, as a viewer or a reader, I'm certain you feel the same way about what I do. Otherwise, you wouldn't care. If the reason you're watching this is because you wouldn't care to watch this if you weren't about improving, if you weren't about motivation, if you weren't about learning new things, especially in business, especially as regards financial matters. So I applaud you for taking the time to soak in the information and listen to authors and educators and entrepreneurs like myself. There are very few people that I can't learn from, and I'm sure you're one of those. I'm sure I can learn a bunch from you. So I look forward to meeting you, listening to you, and maybe reading a book that you decide to write or whatever you choose to do. Maybe start a podcast. So we're going to talk about financial concepts in this message, but be assured I'm aware of multiple aspects of life that have nothing to do with finances. And my 4 words is my priority list. If you follow me on Facebook, you see this. It's faith, it's family, it's fitness, and then finances. So it's in the 4th place right there. So it's important. It's obviously important, but faith has taken me everywhere in my career, and it has been so good. It's my core being. It's who I am. Belief in God and knowing that He has taken care of us all these years and will continue to take care of us. That's faith. And you got to have that in business. Business is sometimes real iffy. We don't know what's going to happen. And man, I've been through some crazy things, and I'll tell you some stories one of these days, maybe in this piece right here, but stuff has happened and you're just not expecting it, and crazy stuff happens. So that's where faith comes in. And then family, I don't even have to talk about that, but for you, probably same thing, just so important to me. I've got my second grandbaby on the way, and he's a boy. His name is Ezra, and we're just so excited about him coming into the world sometime around May, and join his big brother Levi, who's 19 months right now. So fitness is real important to me. I worked out this morning, and I work out 3 to 4 times a week, usually 4 times a week. I do HIIT exercises, and that's high intensity interval training, and it's intense. I'll tell you that. And it's mostly women in the class. I'm one of the few guys, but boy, it kicks my butt every time. Keeps me in shape though. Fitness is so important. Great diet, great sleep, no stress in your life, and take care of your financial situation. You won't have stress in your life. You'll be able to take care of stressful situations in your life when you have the finances. And then working out, moving on a regular basis. Most people don't even move. They're just sedentary all the time. And that fitness will keep you out of the hospital. So we want to do that. That's very expensive and not fun. So let's get started with some basic, simple financial concepts here. It's been said quite often. You've heard the phrase, cash is king, cash is king. I've said it a lot of times. Boy, it's great to have cash on hand, isn't it? I've been a proponent of having cash on hand. I think that's a real important thing. But after decades of teaching finances and talking about finances, teaching people how to flourish as an entrepreneur, how to build a successful network marketing team, the values of network marketing, the how-tos of network marketing, and then other profound financial concepts that I'm going to mention in this piece today. I'm convinced that cash is king is not exactly right. It's not king. So we need to be a little more delineating in that phrase than just throwing something out there like that. So cash is good, but what happens when you use that cash? You've diminished its value. You've diminished its worth, have you not? And so, and then you take it the other extreme. If you don't use the cash, what good is it? It hadn't done you any good at all. So I believe in different aspects of cash, and that is growing investment cash. So saved money, that's great. I encourage people to do it. I laud you for doing that. I think you should do that from a very early age. But saved money when spent is gone. Now, that's about as simple a concept as you'll ever hear in a financial talk. But when it's spent, it's gone. So that's obvious. When anything is devalued, when it's used, whatever you're talking about, you should understand that. Maybe that's not as important as it could be. So cash is king. Stay with me in this line of thinking. Simple thoughts in my life, again, I try to keep it simple, are often profoundly important, especially when we put it to use. So the discipline of saving, great, but any saved amount can go away quickly. So if we can compare the two ideas, let's bring another word into that phrase. Instead of just cash, let's say cash flow. Cash flow is king. And I'm still not headed to where, I'm not where I want to be yet with that, but cash flow is a whole lot better than cash. You'll see that one gets replenished on a regular basis and keeps pouring in, while the other takes on less and less value by virtue of it being used in exchange for paying things like bills, like whatever, repairs, gas, travel, gifts, donations, whatever the case may be. Use the cash and it's gone. But when you have cash flow, now we got something to get excited about. So the perfect metaphor is the goose and the golden egg. Okay, so you guys have heard this. You may have heard it. Some haven't. I've talked to audiences where people are looking at me like, what are you talking about? They never heard the parable of the goose and the golden egg. And so you got an egg that's solid gold. Well, that thing could be worth $25,000, maybe $50,000. And you say, well, there's a goose over there. He doesn't smell that great. And I'll take the egg. But think about it. The actual important entity in this comparison right here is the goose, because it's the one that can give you not just one egg, but another egg and another egg. So you better take care of that goose, feed it well. And so I'm a huge fan of something even better than what we've talked about so far, leading up to the very important concept here of residual cash flow, residual cash flow, cash that comes in on a regular basis. Now, most people achieve residual cash flow by trading hours for dollars. Okay, we can do better than that. We can do a lot better than that. It's cash for dollars or trading hours for dollars. That's limited. Why is it limited? Because we have limited hours and you don't want to work yourself to death. And so we want to work as little as we can to create as much cash as we possibly can. I know everybody's had parents that said, work hard, go to school, get a job, work hard, and you'll create that cash. But there's much better ways to do it, in my opinion. And so here's the guy wearing a shirt that says the struggle sucks. So you may take it with a grain of salt, what I tell you here, but there are so many hours in the day, you got limited time, then you're going to have limited money. So some of you are aware of the cash flow quadrant. One of the great teachers of this concept is Robert Kiyosaki. So if you've never read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, be sure and read Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. My son, I gave it to him at 18 years old, and boy, that puts him so far ahead of the pack. just by reading that simple book. And Kiyosaki's got a ton of other materials out there that you do well to listen to what he says. But he's not one of those guys that says go to college and get a job, okay? I'm not one of those guys that says that either. If you want to go to college and accomplish something, get that degree, that's great. Do that. I did it. I graduated magna cum laude from Texas Tech University. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the study. I learned a lot, but I've never used, I don't think, a single thing that I learned there in my life. And so most schools don't teach it. Elementary school, junior high, high school, college, you never get any financial advice whatsoever. They don't even teach you how to balance a checkbook, which we don't hardly do anymore. But back in my day, that was at least one thing that you could have taught. But we don't get concepts about entrepreneurship, entrepreneurial thought, entrepreneurial struggle, entrepreneurial flourishment. How do you build a business correctly? How do you keep account, and have good accounting in businesses? How do you grow your business? How do you market? How do you advertise? Those things just aren't taught. Now, I will say they're coming into vogue more in community colleges. We've got Collin Community College here in Collin County, and they're doing more of that type of activity. So I think when I grew up, my generation, you didn't even know that it was an option to get a job. I mean, to start a business. It was all get a job, go to college, get a job. And so I'm a proponent of entrepreneurism, as you can tell, and I teach that all over the place. My books hopefully are going out into the public, and they can see how an entrepreneur thinks. And we're different. I mean, we're real different, and we choose things that a lot of people don't choose. A lot of people want that real safe path, that real comfortable path, and they want a corporation taking care of them all the time. So let's look at this quadrant right here, and let's talk about it just a little bit. We're going to look at, let's see if I can find that quadrant. E, we're going to look at E first. That's an employee. This is somebody who has a job. If you've got a job, I applaud you. I'm not putting anybody down who has a job. I'm just psychologically unemployable. I think I've said that in some of my podcasts, but it's true. I mean, I tried to have a job for about 2.5 months one time, actually in a church, and hated it. I hated it. Not because I hate God. I just couldn't stand the confines of doing that. And so I've had a tremendous music career. I've had a tremendous network marketing career, and those are not common choices for most people. So this is how 95% in the E quadrant here, they get a job, and that's great. If you can handle it, awesome, man. Do it, do it, do it, do it. Down here below E is S, that's self-employed. And I think it's well stated in this little quadrant here in the text. It says you own a job. You bought yourself a job. What most people do when they make the leap from being employed by somebody is self-employment. That's how they make that leap. That's what I did. But what you're doing is you're giving yourself really more liabilities and responsibilities than if you just had a job. So sometimes it's not quite as good. Now, you do get write-offs in this category right here, tax write-offs that are good, and you learn how to operate a business. I mean, so I applaud that. Here's the problem though. What most people do is instead of working on their business, they work in their business. Instead of on their business, they work in their business. They do all the work. They don't want to delegate things. I've been guilty of this most of my life. I've had the same problem. So I'm not pointing any fingers at anybody. I'm just telling you that that's the natural inclination, is you want to do it. You don't want to pay out of your gross income that's coming into your business for an employee. They're expensive. And so that's what we end up in that S category right there. Moving on, there's a better way to do it. And great book out there by a gentleman named Michael Gerber. But I'm not sure how old that book is, probably 30 plus years old, but it was called The E-Myth. E-Myth was the name of that book. And I'm showing you an image here on the screen by Michael Gerber. Then he came back and he rewrote it. He called it The E-Myth Revisited. And so it's a wonderful book. If you will Google work in your business or work on your business, not in your business, just Google that. You'll find all kind of articles of authors talking about this concept. It's a real important concept for us to get in our head as entrepreneurs. We need to direct our business, not do the grunt work, the day-to-day grunt work that a business requires. And so I'm still teaching myself that lesson. I still tend to want to do it all myself. I don't mind working 14, 15 hours a day. And that's actually a problem because I don't need to do that. I don't have to do that, especially in network marketing. You don't have to do it. And the music business, you didn't have to do it either. So any business that you start and you, oh, by the way, I just got an award that said I was the best marketing consultant in the Allen area. I saw that this morning by email. Had never even thought about that reward, that award. And they may just be selling hardware and plaques and that kind of thing. That's fine. I like that recognition. That was pretty cool. So best marketing consultant in Allen, Texas. We got about 100,000 people here, I guess. So that was awesome. Nice little perk. B stands for business owner there. So here's where you can really leverage yourself if you're willing to get good people in your business. And so the value of a good employee that comes in and runs aspects of your business, it's just a very valuable thing. So I have, in a company that I had years ago, it was called Advantage Conferences. And what I would do is it was trying to help people cross the line from being a business employee into business ownership. And we would bring business owners in to talk and interview. I'd interview them for 90 minutes on stage with an audience. And I've got all those films now. They're super, and I'm a whole lot younger there, so that's even better. Funny how you look better a lot of times in those old pictures. So anyway, we'd bring them in and let them talk about the issues they had in business, the problems they had in business. How did they overcome those problems? What were their biggest what was their hurdles that they had to do? And how did that grow for you? And how did you figure out how to really scale that business and get it way up there where it's cash flowing like crazy, and then sell it for a profit that took you into a very comfortable retirement? You never had to worry about money again. So just wonderful, man. We had so many cool people come in there, just common, ordinary people that made the choice to become entrepreneurs and learn how to do it right. And so that's why whenever any author's talking, whenever any entrepreneur's talking, my ears are wide open. I'm listening. I want to get the nuances to how to do this better. Let's move on to I right here. We got investor. Investor, you own investments. And that can come in a lot of different shapes. It can be real estate. Kiyosaki is real big on real estate. So it can be stocks and bonds. It can be options, option trading and playing and that kind of stuff. I love doing that. I do it all the time, and listen to experts on how to do it, and got some really good people that have, shown me the ropes until finally it's just like nothing. I mean, you go in there and you're making plays, and at first it was just really mind-boggling to me, and after a while it got great. So. You get privileges of being a business owner. Investors, so important that you learn how to do that and teach your kids how to do it. My son's 20 now, and I've given him several books that he's digested, and he's just put $1,000. He's a barista. How do you say that? Barista, I think, something like that. I'm not sure. He works at a coffee shop, and he's really a coffee snob. He knows all about coffee, anyway, he's got that in there, and he's telling me, Dad, I've already made $70 in that account. I said, son, that is fantastic. At 20 years old, do you understand the power of compound interest? Einstein said compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. I totally agree. It's an amazing thing how time takes your money. If you've got it in a great account, and that account's probably going to make money. And I highly suggest that you get it into an instrument that has a floor. In other words, you can't lose your principal. And so there's a lot of different instruments out there that have that so that you can't lose. If you just are buying stock in the stock market, that's risky. That should be a small portion of your portfolio. Stocks can go down. You think back to 2008 and 2009 and what happened there. And my goodness, You know, people lost a third, half of their entire earnings and portfolios, and how much they were worth. And so just a small portion should go for that. So anyway, invested cash, we say cash is king. How about invested cash? Is an obviously better choice than cash under your mattress. Now, I understand there's some rainy days, but static cash loses value. Static cash loses value. And so I'm not a big fan of that kind of thing, but compound interest over time, stunning, stunning. Contribute regularly and get your money in there. Now, I will say this, what most people have their money in is called IRAs, individual retirement accounts, 401ks, IRAs, and that kind of thing. And I'm not that big a fan of those. If your company is matching you, contributions is matching are being matched, then yeah, go ahead and take advantage of that. That's great. But the problem with the IRA is that you're going to be taxed when you withdraw that money, and you can't withdraw it. You're going to be penalized before 59 and a half years of age, 10% if you have to take that money out. And so that's just robbery to me. I mean, I'm just like, are you kidding me? That's my money. And just because I take it out of your account, you're going to charge me 10%. I'm not a fan of that. And then the other quandary with an IRA is when you retire, whatever year that is, if you have a liberal faction in office, leftists in office, basically socialist communists in office, they are going to raise that tax rate, and they are going to just steal that money right out from under you that you've been saving all your life. Now, the IRA is a government produced government concept, and so they have total control over those funds. So there's a lot better ways to do that. That's going to be a subject of another book coming up soon, and I am going to recommend a book here. Let's see. Let me show you this book right here. The author's name is Patrick Kelly. The book is called Tax-Free Retirement. Tax-Free Retirement by Patrick Kelly. My son Caleb has read that book already. So he has that concept in his noggin, you know, and you need to too. It's so important. It lays out exactly why a tax-free retirement is a much better plan than an IRA. And so I'm not saying go take your money out of your IRA right now. If you got a Roth IRA, that's a much better option in the IRA department. But still, the tax-free retirement is a much better way to go. It just makes a whole lot more sense. Then there's Becoming Your Own Banker by the late Nelson Nash, a friend of mine. And man, that guy, I learned so much from him. It was mind-boggling. Becoming Your Own Banker by the late Nelson Nash. We lost him about, I think, 8, 9, 10 months ago, something like that. So really sorry to hear that, but this guy's a genius, just a genius as far as making money and knowing how to do it with almost no tax consideration, all legal. So both books are incredibly important, must reading for anybody if you want to be savvier about personal financial matters. Okay, so the questions that few ask, because they don't know that this exists. Here's a question for you. What types of income are there? Most people are, what are you talking about? Go get a job, trade hours for dollars. That's the only income there is. No, not true at all. How about this question? What type of income would I most enjoy making? Oh, you mean I have an option? Yes, you have an option. And the options that other forms of income take are mind-boggling. I'm going to screw this up. Mind-bogglingly better. I don't think I've ever said that before. They are so much better. And then the third question here, what type of income would be best and most beneficial to me and my family? Now, I want you to think about that. A lot of people haven't. Now, a lot of people listening to me now have thought of that. And that's why they're here talking with me, because they know they're entrepreneurial. They're drawn the same interests that I have and some of the same concepts. So that trade hours for dollars thing, I just, If you can do it, great. I'm proud of you, man. I can't do it. I cannot do it. So my wife works, and she wants to, and she's good at what she does. She's a physical therapist, and she makes pretty good money doing it. But for me, I got to have some time freedom. I got to be in control of my destiny and my days, my hours during the day. I want to be in control of that. And so I think about, a boss telling you how much you're worth, how much you're going to pay me. You're probably going to pay me the least you possibly can to keep me if I'm an employee. And then I'm going to probably do the least I can do just to stay in that cash flow there. You're going to tell me when I can vacation. You're going to tell me when I can go to the bathroom. Really? Not for me, guys. Not for me. Now I know some jobs are not nearly that constricting, but I don't want any constrictions.